welcome back to No Substitutes, the show where I have some of my favorite people on. We talk about what ingredients make them who they are, but today is a solo episode. Don't have a guest here, so we're going to talk about me because it's my show. Also, it's officially been a year of No Substitutes. So, we're going to reflect back on some of our favorite episodes, our favorite guests, what I personally hope to achieve in the next few years, continuing to do this. But most importantly, I'm here to say thank you all to who have supported this journey. And it feels so weird to say journey. Supported this show. Sorry, it's not like, I don't know, I'm coming into myself, but maybe I kind of am. It's been cool.
I think it's fine to say journey.
I know, but when I hear journey, I think of like AA and like and like not, podcasting.
Yeah.
But I mean, it has been a journey. It's been a quest. Let's say that. It's been a quest. Thank you all for joining me on this quest of podcasting, and it's been fun. Yeah. I'm like, I feel like now the show's made some pretty good money, even without advertising. So if you guys want to be a sponsor for our show, let me know, because then we can all start making big bucks. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that makes sense because the first year anniversary gift is paper. Ooh.
Wait,
Lumi,
is that
look
really?
under your.
I just googled that. That's
Oh, okay.
Like in marriage or like?
Yeah, I think so. It's just the traditional first anniversary gift is paper, representing the beginning of a new chapter in life.
Damn, I want to get paid. I have to date someone for a year now.
Look under your chair right now. No, I'm just kidding.
Damn.
There's $20 for parking.
I took an Uber and it was way more than $20.
Oh my God. All right. Sorry.
But no, it's fine. It's okay. So yeah, thank you guys already so much, but let's all like stick to this, because it's got to keep getting better. The more money I make, the better content you're going to get, the more, the bigger guests. But actually, I do want to kind of talk about one of my goals is in the next few years to start actually just interviewing more chefs and like dishwashers and maybe even like front of the house staff at some restaurants. Kind of like a chef's table thing or no reservations thing. That's like my dream kind of show to do. And so hopefully we keep doing that. But of course, I know you guys enjoy seeing people like Jason Ellis or Agatha Vega episode came out today. Ellie Clutch. Like we have so many amazing guests that have made this show pop off. So we're very, very thankful for that. And I know you guys like how diverse it's been. Mix of comics, adult film, chefs, authors. Thank you, Lori Wolver. Oh my God. Again, that was like doing Jeremiah Tower and Lori Wolver, like in a span of like a month, was overwhelming in the best way possible. That was like my personal favorites to do.
It's so mind blowing that we interviewed Jeremiah Tower. Like, I want to say it in respect to all the guests that we've had and will have in the future, but that's like the most influential person we'll probably ever talk to.
Yeah.
Like he shaped modern American cuisine.
Yeah. Him and Lori opened some doors. I've had some pretty like celebrity status chefs in my DMs lately giving me props on the show. And I was just like blown away.
Wow, yeah.
How many of those people listened to the Jeremiah episode. So that was really special. I'm excited. I want to have one of those people on this year. I'm going to talk to him in like a week and try to schedule something. Tyler Florence, he's big up in the Bay Area. I think he's actually big all around, but he's a very influential chef and does it a lot. And so that'd be really cool to have him on. Of course, like Eric Repair, I don't know if we'll get him. He's pretty. He's a little too famous.
I know. I think it's just about climbing the ladder. Jeremiah Tower opened up so many doors.
Exactly. And he's doing so many cool things still. Like he just did the wine and food thing in Ojai. I told him if he does anything in the Bay Area, I will be attending. I don't care how expensive it is because I really do want to meet him in person. And honestly, after our interview, I was just like, I want to be best friends with him and his husband. I want to like get to go visit them in the Yucatan and like play with their dog.
His husband is so nice.
I know.
He's like one of the nicest guys. It was like, and so helpful with everything. It was like amazing.
He was the best. I love them. I love everything they got going. Really want to be best friends with them. I'm actually going to see Lori again. She's coming to the Bay Area during her book tour.
It's
so
amazing.
I asked her if she wanted to get dinner and sign my book. So,
wow.
No big deal.
I mean, I told you before we started that would happen first before we start buying Mercedes-Benz. That like a lot of other cooler stuff is going to come first.
I mean, yeah. I'm like, yeah. I mean, I'm even shocked with where the show is at already. And like, I don't know, checking the YouTube and how much money it's already made. I'm like, oh, steady, but pretty good.
I mean, I know I say this so much, but for where we're at, it's like we're doing pretty amazing. Like specifically, I feel like I get so bored with technical stuff. It's just the way that YouTube works, it doesn't matter your social media following. You have to be part of the YouTube algorithm.
For sure.
And you personally weren't. You've had some big videos, but it was so spaced out that it didn't really help you.
It was just also me doing interviews I'm not even really, I don't really care for.
Yeah.
But no, I knew that. I knew no matter what form of entertainment I was going to do, I knew adult film opened certain doors and, of course, like spiked my following with things. But even like TikTok, a lot of people don't know who I am in that sense on TikTok. I have a pretty big following on TikTok now, but honestly, from just posting, all I post is clips from the podcast. So a lot of those people think I just do podcasting or TikToks. And then now, with YouTube and podcasting, I just know like no matter what kind of streaming I'm going to do, I know I have to build from scratch.
Well, and your fan base has grown so much with especially like this specific branch of entertainment that you're doing because the show got nominated.
That's true. That was funny. I was kind of like, that was cool though. Yeah.
I do very annoyingly tell people I'm a 2-time AVN nominee, like as many times as I can bring it up.
I'm a 2-time AVN nominee.
Yeah, no big deal. My first year in, I got 2 nominations.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
We interviewed someone who won like a couple big AVN awards.
Oh, nice.
And I just kept butting in like, as a nominee myself.
As a nominee myself.
I just kept like rubbing it in. It's just, I don't know. It's so funny to me.
Yeah.
That happened. I was like,
you should put that in your Instagram bio.
Oh, I will put, I will. After this, I will put 2-time AVN nominee.
Because when I see, I don't know why, but I'm always like, I guess I kind of get why adult film stars do it, but I'm always like, not to take away from it, but I'm like, you didn't win.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they'll do that. They're like, was nominated in this year and this year. I'm like, not, why, what?
You're going back years?
Like, that's nominated? What I mean. Like, but it's always like that 2-time AVN nominee in 2022. I'm like, it's 2025.
How long
But
have you?
I don't know if maybe I don't even know how many times I've been nominated in XBiz or AVN or have won. Not that I think I'm above it. I'm just like, so I think in my head I didn't really consider that as a credential, like just being nominated.
It's like an Olympian, you know?
I guess, yeah. But that's, I don't know. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
But it'd be more funny if someone like you
Yeah.
put
Yeah.
2-time AVN nominee in 2024.
I wonder, because how does that, I don't even know how that works. I didn't like submit anything. It was just all of a sudden it was there and someone showed
usually,
me.
especially with AVN, you have to submit stuff. I didn't submit anything. I think sometimes, especially with something like podcasting, they're like, oh, well, this is, I don't know. I think they like to highlight, especially stuff that adult film stars do outside of corn. So
Yeah.
they're like, even though this isn't technically an adult film show, we have adult film stars on and it's me. So I think they were like, oh, they just threw it in there.
I will say though, like my ultra competitiveness is like, we're going to win. Like I'm already in the back of my head just being like, I think I can pull this off.
If anyone should have won, I think Holly should have won.
Yeah, that was just about to go there. It was like, Holly is
Holly's
the
only one that's, kind of, she's in the industry, not a performer, but like, I don't know, has given good interviews and like a actual platform and voice to adult film stars, unlike other ones that I feel like are just like asking the same questions and want to hear about like who's hooked up with Chris Brown and who's like, I don't know.
There is like, I've noticed, right? Because I have to, do research to see what everyone else is doing. That there's a lot of like people who make podcasts in that like adjacent like adult film industry that are the hosts like are not even part of that world. And I feel like they use that as a way to segue themselves in.
Yeah.
Because there's been like some that are like, okay, I'm 2 years in now. Now I'm going to make my OF. I was like, oh, so is that the goal from the beginning?
I'm like, in one way or another, as long as like everyone's, I don't know, in a more or less ethical way doing it, then no hate. But a lot of these people, I see them doing things and I've heard very horrendous stories of certain men and people exploiting and SAing people.
So I'll say also, I'm very open with my rule about our guests get final edit. And even if they want something on the podcast that they don't want turned into a clip, we won't do that. And it's very obvious that not everyone has that rule of protecting their guests.
I know.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh.
And even like when adult stars or anyone comes on here, I think they're shocked when we say that. They're like, oh, you're like not going to try and embarrass me and exploit me? Okay.
Yeah, I have to, it's been, I try and be like a little bit extra about it because I have to like try and rebuild a reputation. Because when comedy, people know that like, I'm not going to take anyone out of context. I don't support that. Yeah. And I want you to be happy. We can, it could be really funny without taking advantage of someone, at least in comedy. But in comedy, it's like, you see a lot of podcasts do that too, where they'll get a controversy out of someone and then they just clip that nonstop and then it just brings more hate to that person. Yeah. So I was like, well, I think I'm going to say something. It's going to be so gross and you can make fun of me about it. But I like to think that I'm trying to create art and it just like, I understand that the podcast is the medium and then you have to come, if you're not coming from like a place of love and like.
No, exactly. I mean, that's even how I felt shooting adult film.
Yeah.
I didn't go on sets or like chase something that was going to make me feel outside my body ever. I always did something with intention. And that, in a way, almost like translated to other parts of my life, like sex outside of porn or this and other media. It's not saying like there's a right way or a wrong way to do it, but yeah, I feel like there's ways that I'm not necessarily going to associate myself with or people, or yeah, you just distance yourself, or yeah, but there's no right or wrong way, but that's kind of how I feel too. It's like I'd rather make something that I'm proud of. I'd rather walk out
Right.
here today and like feel like everyone that sits in that chair is gonna feel like seen and heard, and I
Yeah.
got to create a space where they felt like they could share their story, and so we're all leaving not feeling icky.
Right.
Because I can't do this kind of work and be like, ooh, hot the tea, the
Yeah.
goss, like spill, sis.
I know that we've had like talks about like, you were on the top of my list of people I wanted to work with. And I've only really told you it was like, oh, because you have like a really good reputation. I heard you're easy to work with. And I think that you would just be a good host. But really, I wanted to create a show where people felt seen, and you need a very specific host to do that. And when I was watching your stuff, I try not to start controversy or throw shades. I'm a coward in that sense. But when I saw you on other shows, you could definitely tell that you would rather be somewhere else, and then there was more to what you wanted to say. At least that's the vibe that I got.
And then there was even a few times where I ended a podcast episode and someone was like, wow, thank you for that. I was like, that felt like a therapy session. And I'm like, that didn't feel okay. So I don't know. I feel like I was not good at being even this, like doing solo stuff. I'm not really good at being the center of attention. Just weird because of what I'm choosing to do and what I've chosen to do in the past. The only time I actually liked attention was when I was cooking, because I always cooked in open kitchens. But in media, for some reason, it's like, yeah, it's a little weird. Like I like being on sets and stuff, and if I'm the main character, that's fine. But like that's why I'll attend any of the award shows. I'm like, even if I did win, which I would be so honored, I'm not going on stage.
Do you feel, because I'm kind of the same way, do you feel like the reason you don't mind it when you're cooking or when you're like doing an acting performance because it feels more deserved because you're doing something compared to not doing something?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why like, yeah, I feel the same. That's why I hate celebrating my birthday. It's like I'm just alive. Like I made it. Like, why are we making a big deal out of this? It makes me feel weird. Yeah. And then like other stuff, I was like, I'm not doing anything. Like,
yeah, no, that's why like I feel like the solo episodes, I'm like, all right, it's me.
Yeah, it's tough.
Hi.
The fans love them though.
Yeah, which is great. Yeah, no, with cooking though, I think like I felt that was probably the most like theatrical I ever was, because I was doing something, and also everyone's like, they love to like walk up to the bar and watch me cook, or like everyone's always happy because you're feeding them. And I'm providing a service. I don't know that, and same thing when I would perform. Like I'm fine with being praised, especially when it's like I had a butt plug in my butt for like 10 hours before
10 hours
or something,
for like prep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, no, I'm learning.
Yeah,
Okay.
like anytime, like I don't know, like I have shot for Tushy or anything like where it's like a long day, but it's like, yeah. So,
do you think it's like I don't know why I'm thinking of like Anchorman or no. Who is it like where it's like, I don't know what to do with my hands. You know what I
Ricky
mean?
Bobby.
Yeah, I was like, oh, so I was just thinking of Will Ferrell, but it's like,
Yeah.
like when you're doing something, you don't have to think about
Yeah,
doing
exactly.
something.
And like everyone's telling me what to do. And with cooking, it was like even when I was the person in charge, it just everything felt natural. In doing this, yeah, I'm kind of like I'm constantly I'll look kind of cool, but not make it look like I'm trying to look cool.
Oh, that actually reminds me about you and cooking. That there's a million reasons why I wish I was in New York. But
Oh, gosh.
one of them was during the solo episodes where you just casually dropped that your nickname was Sass Monster, and no one called, like, no one's like, no, elaborate.
No, I wanted to elaborate on that.
Yeah, that's so
I can
funny.
elaborate on that.
Yeah, elaborate, please.
I was a host at 17. I was working at Rena's Creperie in Arcata. I just said that. I was hosting, and it was my first restaurant job. I liked it, but yeah, I learned very quickly I had to kind of have a certain demeanor doing front of the house and being like barely legal, but having a body and men acting a certain way. But also I would kind of back talk some of the chefs just because I thought it would be funny. And so they nicknamed me Sass Monster. And her name was Jen. Won't drop other information, but she was another lady cook. And so, yeah, I remember when I was hosting, I would like run to the walk-in, grab ingredients for them, and maybe say some like comment or just, it was always like playful. It wasn't never like, get it yourself. Like I wasn't trying to be sassy, rude. I was more like I don't know. I just was, I was 17. It was my first restaurant job. I was excited. I was getting attention and it was fun. But then that same woman was the one who told me I should start cooking because she was like, your energy and like the way you operate, I feel like you should be back here. And so then I started training in the kitchen. And
that is so cool. Do you think they had a missed opportunity for Sass Squatch though?
I know. I think they didn't want it to sound like a euphemism, especially because I was 17.
Yeah. Also, you're not tall enough to be a Sasquatch.
Yeah. I'm definitely not. But Sasquatch Sasquatch, we have a whole, like, on your way to Humboldt, there's like this little place where you can go buy all this merch and like wooden figurines of like Sasquatch because, well, it's like known that we have Bigfoot sightings in Humboldt. Yeah. I'm pretty sure Rogan came there like years ago to Willow Creek trying to like do some Sasquatch stuff.
Yeah, he did.
Like I think it was like days before like Jamie.
Yeah, he did. I think it did a TV show on conspiracy stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's what it was. I was like, I don't even think it was like podcast days. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so we're known for that. But when I hear Sasquatch, it kind of sounds like Sass crotch, and then I was just like barely legal. So, and I ended up having a relationship with one of the cooks, and he was way too old for me. So that would have already been, that would have made the restaurant owner very upset. I think she would have been. It's so funny too, because I remember dating this person and we thought we were so like secretive and good. And then like, everyone was like, no, we've known. like you guys both would go to the walk-in at the same time. Like, that's not necessary. It's like, oh, well, all right.
That's funny.
Yeah. But we were like secretive for like 2 years and thought no one knew. Everyone knew, including the owner, I'm pretty sure. She would make like comments and then like, I don't know. But that was a fun time. Not dating that person, but being a cook. And especially in like that restaurant. That restaurant was awesome. Actually just visited and ate there last week, 2 weeks ago.
Is it the same owners?
Yeah, she'll never give it up. She never had children or anything. So this is like her child. And she's like been one of the most successful restaurateurs. Is that the right word? Restaurant owners in Arcata who doesn't grow weed. So never grew weed. And she's, Renata. Shout out to Renata. She's badass. She's like badass Capricorn artist who just, Lothian. And she's very successful, very quirky, fun lady. I loved working for her. She also like paid us all like living wages. Like,
whoa.
And that wasn't even like, like that. Like I was like, 18 to 22 making like really pretty good money. So she takes, and then she always would like give us paid 2 weeks off during Christmas plus a Christmas bonus.
Wow.
I'm like, so once I left Humble and tried to,
how's that possible?
I know she's just, she's generous. And I think she's just good with money. She's smart. But going from that to trying to like work in Michelin star or like high-end restaurants in the Bay Area, and they were not paying like that. It was kind of like, and I was working a lot more. It was just like hard to be like, do I really want to keep doing this? And she was just good at creating like a family dynamic. I don't know. I have very high standards now for like if I was ever going to work at a restaurant again, but also if I were to ever run one. I don't think I want to, but the way she operates and treats her staff and the environment she created and the pay, I don't know. She just, she was never a greedy person. I never felt like, and she was one of those people where you felt like you could like talk to her about even heavy stuff.
I love that. Yeah, because you said it's like a family thing. And it is really smart that you mentioned, because if you want to yield a better result for your product, obviously you want people who care about your product and care about you. So I think her having respect for her employees generated it back.
Because I've even tried working at a few restaurants while I was still working there in Arcata, and it's just not the same. Like, it's just, I think a lot of restaurants think everyone's just like a cog in the machine. And I mean, which a lot of times it is, but when you work for someone who wants to hear you out and acknowledges you and makes you feel like a person versus a machine. And she like, the thing is too, is like the more I did work, the more reward I got. So it made me want to like, eventually I was, opening up the restaurants like 5 days a week for her, or 6, sometimes 6. But she would always be like, no one's allowed to work more than 5 days. Or like, I don't think she was just trying to pay overtime, but she was just like, also for your guys' mental health, like, no one should be working those hours. So I'm like, I have a very high standard now. And I don't know. I feel like it's very rare that I see that in restaurants, even like top-notch Michelin star restaurants. But so that's how Sass Monster came. I went on a whole thing.
In any of the restaurants that you cooked at, did you ever get to add anything to the menu that you made?
No. I got to run kitchens, but I worked under pretty like, which is fine, but or I respected it, but very like I feel like that was the one thing that like Renata will not let. She's like, oh no, you can, she pays us well. She creates a very incredible environment. But she's like, no one will touch this menu.
What about like family meals? Do you have a favorite family meal you ever made
I've done that. Yeah. At this, I made a Mexican dish. Sorry. Anytime
Yeah, it is funny when I'm like reviewing the footage. Every time Mexican comes up, your eyes dart to me really quick and then go back to the guest. Makes me laugh.
Mexican.
Yeah.
I made sopapilla, which is in Chile Verde. Sopapilla is usually a Mexican dessert.
Mhm.
It's like a little puffed out triangle looking thing. I made that. It was like this little breaded thing. And then I just made like chicken chili verde for a family meal one time. That was good.
Nice.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah. Definitely people who work in restaurants.
I know
That's where you cook for like the restaurant.
Yeah, it's like
staff only,
before.
right?
It's like usually a family meals like happens before service. We usually make some stuff.
The power of deduction. I could figure out all the context clues on that one.
My dream is one day it's gonna be we're doing this in like a nice kitchen setting, so that I can make family meals for like guests and
Yeah.
for all of us between when we have that lunch break.
Yeah. I would love that.
I would love that.
I was just like, I mean, we're not going to be making a profit, but I'd love that.
Yeah.
I did a show that was pretty successful right from the start. And then, so it was obviously making money right away. And then all that money went away for lunch when every single day it's sugarfish for the multiple hosts and then the crew wanting stuff. And I was like, when I'm in charge, we're not going to be getting sugarfish for a long time.
No. That's like pissing away so much money.
And then it's not, they didn't, almost no one does our schedule. It's so hard to do our schedule. So that's like 4 times a month doing that, right?
Oh, hell no.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, cool.
Yeah, for us,
so
it'd be
this show's
2
making,
days, but even like 2 days,
Yeah.
that's like
there's a lot of money.
one day would be like $400.
Yeah. Yep.
So I'm not trying to spend $1,000
Yeah. That's the thing.
on
Yeah.
sugarfish.
That's, when I get, I have to like explain like, hey, if we're going to like do this, you have to realize that you're going to make money on other stuff and I'm not going to make any money.
Yeah.
So can we please like,
What
that's
the
why I have it like we both have to agree on the budget and where the money goes. And I'm not stingy. Like if we want to spend something on something else, but like if it's every day we're getting sugarfish, like,
no, that sounds
like cool. I'm gonna have to start working at McDonald's so I can pay my
Girl,
bills.
the tariffs.
Yeah, I know.
I don't even want to know what the sugarfish tariffs would be.
Oh my God. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, nah.
But I would love that. Like eventually, yeah, it's not going to even take it. Honestly, it wouldn't even take that long to get to that level.
Also, if I'm doing family meal, I'm not making you guys Michelin star meals.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I don't like this idea anymore.
I don't
Just
like this
kidding. I'm
idea
just kidding.
anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not spending money on Erewhon.
I mean,
I'm going Sprouts.
plus like Michelin star. I mean, I feel like it's like obviously like the course and like the smaller portions. I feel like we want to eat,
Yeah. I'm like, that's what I mean. I'm like, I like in family meal, it's a pot of something. That's usually how it goes.
I can't believe I
For me.
forgot this. For our 1-year anniversary, I was going to do that Erewhon $30 bottle of water. Just so we can see what what it's all
What about
about.
that $14
The Halle Bieber
strawberry?
shake.
No.
Oh, the single strawberry.
Yeah, there's like a single strawberry.
Just splurge a little bit, but I forgot. Maybe next month I'll try and remember. Just to see, I just want to see what it's about. It's got to be good, right? $30 for one water bottle.
It better like make you float or like have telekinesis.
Right. Just like perfect pH and like all your O2 levels are great. Like, and you don't have the bottle return is ridiculous there, right? The jar return. Have you guys seen that? They charge you an extra $3. Then you can return the jar and get your refund back. It's
What?
It's wild.
Wow.
That's how they get you to come back.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of smart. It's like, we'll charge you a little bit more because now you feel like you have to come back, and you're not going to just come back for $3. You're going to go back to shop.
Yeah.
All right,
Everyone's
give
good.
that guy a raise.
They're good at their branding.
Yeah.
But then also you're thinking, okay, now I just got this new soup in this jar that somebody else
Probably licked.
Yeah.
They're paying $50 for.
Yeah. No, that's not. It's not the vibe. That's crazy.
But but back to the main point. I do like that idea of I would love it if we could cook something, some kind of food for each guest, even if it's something small, not a full course meal, but
yeah.
Here's this one thing to represent you.
I make tacos. Make sopapilla. Make gumbo. There's lots of stuff.
There, how do I want to word this? Sometimes people have really good ideas. And there was this idea that this one person had, who I'll give them props. That was a good idea. Is that they had a show where they interviewed people at food trucks, and that was
that.
Yeah, and that was pretty cool. So they just went to a food truck, gave props to that business, ate the food, and interviewed that. And I was like, I don't know who gave you that idea, but that was a pretty good idea.
Nice. Is it on YouTube and stuff?
It is on YouTube. It no longer exists, but like a lot of other things that come out of that person. But yeah, I was like, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I like how Chris is like, I'm going to give him props, but not say their name or the show.
That's fair.
Yeah. So do you want to talk a little bit about, it's been a year, and where do you see what's the future? Not even necessarily 1 year from now, but what's in your head, your end game? If that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess to kind of just do more of a show and just more chefs, more restaurant life. It'd be kind of cool to do something like No Reservations that Bourdain did, but I don't know. I mean, of course, in our own way, not copy anyone, but I don't know. Just the more success, the more it'd be fun to travel and take this to other places, interview more people. Like I said, I just want to keep creating things I feel proud of. I feel like, I don't know.
So we're talking a food truck mobile podcast studio.
That'd be sick. That'd be fun.
There's that podcast Bussin' with the Boys?
No.
Okay, it's a really great podcast.
Nice.
It's by two ex NFL players, and they interview people inside this bus.
Sick.
It would be so cool because there's no original ideas. Like if we buy a food truck and then turn that into a studio and then drive around the country.
Yeah.
Interviewing people inside the food truck.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be
and
fun.
then we'll be smart. I'm the smart planner outer.
Yeah.
Whatever that word is. We tie it into your YouTube channel. So it's
Okay.
multiple things. It's we're making the podcast, but you're also filming content for your YouTube channel.
I'm down.
We're being smart about it.
That'd be fun. I like the killing two birds with one stone.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that brings up a good point about how we've talked a little bit outside of recording of how this year we want to launch your YouTube channel and the different kind of content we want to put on there. There's going to be a lot of specific stories that are for the podcast itself and more interviews, but there's a lot of more personal stuff for you that I think is going to go specifically for your podcast for your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of fun stuff too, like putting up recipe videos.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I was going to share that I have recipes now for every guest that has been on the show. So there's about like over 50 recipes right now. And we're going to continue. But I think it'd be fun for my YouTube if I make those recipes in order to promote each episode, because all the recipes are based off of the episode. So whether it was a conversation or a specific dish that person shared. So stay tuned for that. It's already all written out. I just want to make it for you guys now. So
can I put this to the test and name a guest and see what the dish is?
Yeah.
Macone.
Oh yeah. I'll show you Macones. I have a Google Doc. Also, sorry guys, I have allergies. Where's Macone? Also, everyone's comments on Macone's episode are like so funny. Okay, let's see. We don't need to cut this, but grab me a tissue. Let me see. Where's
this is
Macone?
live, guys. This is what podcasting is about. Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get allergies.
Yeah. I think I'm just like allergic to LA now. I've been
all the artificial shit in the air.
Well, I've been like spoiled with Marin County clean air. Ugh. Okay. Where is Macone?
Why are you looking?
Macone's Minnesota wild rice hot dish. So it's with wild rice, chicken broth, ground beef, onion, garlic, sliced mushrooms, frozen peas and carrots, cream of mushroom soup, cheddar cheese, a little salt and pepper.
You have the opportunity to do the funniest thing with Bobby. I'm just
I know.
It's sushi or kimchi. That's it.
Yeah.
Just to see his reaction.
I was going to say, I love how you did a hot dish for Macone, though, because if you're not doing a hot dish for somebody from Minnesota, you did not pay attention.
Exactly. I was like, yeah. I saw this tweet and it's been saved in my phone because I wanted to share it with Bobby next time I see him. And it's literally, it's not even that funny, but it just, I don't know. Imagining a Black Korean guy named Washington Square Park.
That's pretty good. Yeah. Man, this week I thought I was so funny doing the description for the clip for the episode this week, where it was like one of them was like
for Agatha.
Yeah, where it was like I said like
mouth BDSM.
Yeah, I was like, I'm so funny, dude.
I'm so funny.
And then I looked it up, and then it was like, because no one's ever done this before, and there's so many spicy food is just mouth BDSM, and I was like, all right, I'm not that original, I guess.
Not that original.
I thought I was so clever.
There's no such thing as an original thought anymore.
Yeah.
That's why we have AI.
Yeah.
Now. But I thought it was clever.
Yeah. One day I'll have an original thought. I'll get there.
One day. Because even like Washington Square Park, I'm like, I'm sure someone else is. Yeah, Twitter is just all recycled thoughts. Mm. So, I don't know. Yeah, exactly.
Do you want to shout out some people that have helped us along the way?
I know I already kind of gave a little shout out, but Jason Ellis helped us pop off. Also, incredible interview. That was one of my first interviews, and I was just so grateful with how open and vulnerable, and I don't know. That was one of my favorite conversations to this day.
Yeah, I remember I wasn't nervous about getting that day done. I was nervous about like, okay, I hope everything that I thought about you was right. I just signed up for like years of my life on this project.
You're like,
it's time to see.
She's got no personality.
Yeah. And then that episode, I mean, that whole day was really good. That episode it felt like you've been doing it for like 5 years. Oh, like I was like, holy shit. Like it's like you're a veteran. I remember being nervous for that. And then I was like, oh, I don't think he likes me because I was doing like my pre-interview. And I was like, and he was like, yeah, I get it. I was like, I do podcasts. Like I know what to say. And I know he knows what to say, but he did not follow that rule at all. That was like the most vulgar podcast I think we've ever released. I was like, well, that's why I remind people, Jason. Because
and also you're like, I don't know. I know he gets a lot more on Patreon, I think. I mean, he's probably gets a lot from YouTube too, but I don't think he's used to having to follow YouTube rules as much.
No. I mean, comedians, it's just they're not getting anything out of YouTube money. They're selling tickets to their shows. So they don't like having to follow the rules because it's not beneficial to them. It's
even like the amount of comics I've talked to who expressed to me that they actually hate podcasting.
Oh, all of them.
Oh, all of them.
Oh, they all hate it? None of them listen to each other's podcast. Maybe there's like a couple. And then also, and they also all hate each other. And then they still do like their podcasts because it's so beneficial. It was just like, it's just too much. I didn't want to deal with it anymore. There's so many reasons I don't want to work with comedians anymore, but it's also the fact that
they sound more catty than girls.
Yeah. It's like something that you told me that I now it's like a requirement for me to ever work with someone is that they had to have had a real job first.
Yeah.
And it's just with most comedians, it's just never been the case with them. It's always been like side gigs that they could maybe they could hold down a restaurant job for like 2 to 3 weeks before they get fired.
Yeah.
I need someone who has held a job.
Well, because like especially in some entertainment, a lot of times when you meet people, I mean, which is great to some degree, they said they couldn't have a real job.
Yeah.
So it's like they had to push themselves to get into the entertainment business. Comics specifically, though, that for some reason has a different meaning to it.
Yeah.
Because it's more like, well, it's like you're not like an A-list actor.
Right.
So you didn't push yourself that far. You got to the Comedy Store. And I know how much they all make a night, and it's not a lot. So
no, yeah.
But we love them.
Another person, or more of a recent guest that I want to give a shout out to is also Dread. That was such a good interview, and he let us talk about all sorts of stuff.
I know. He's so sweet, and also on Instagram. I know on. Okay.
Also, as you're looking, because I know you're going to pull up the numbers.
Yeah.
That episode almost has 120,000 views now
on YouTube.
YouTube, which is insane. That video alone, the numbers on that got us like the monetization requirements.
Yeah. On what's it called? More on Instagram. On TikTok, it's 2.6 million. On Instagram, there's 6.6 million views.
Wow, yeah. It's so nice that he even shared that clip. I understand, like me more than anyone else, I get why people don't share clips, especially in your guys' world, because you have to have a curated page.
Right.
So you can't always just have like, these are all the things.
Not some shoot or something.
You know who
gets... I don't know. He's cool, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. He runs his own stuff. He doesn't have anyone else he has to answer to or like agency.
Having to explain to comics about how come this person didn't share this clip. I was like, well, can you look at their page and see how curated it is? Mm-hmm. They can't just have a clip. Like, you don't take it. They did you a favor doing the podcast. Don't like take it even more personal that they didn't share a clip. You know?
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah. Gianna Dior.
Oh yeah, of course.
Wasn't her episode what got us?
Yeah, her episode is what got us past because
Yeah.
so what happens is once you meet the requirements, a real person looks at your page and they have to make sure that you are following guidelines, and then they review.
I guess that's better.
Yeah, they review your most watched episode, and then if they were gonna review Jason's, like, there's no way we would pass.
Yeah.
So in the final hours, her episode became the most watched at that time.
Right. Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, that one's safe. I know that one's safe. And then they've watched it. That was the review, and then we passed. Yeah, so we do owe her some kind of dinner or gift or something.
Yeah, I have dinner plans with her later, so I'll make
We'll count that as the thing.
There we go.
Give her a firm handshake for me and say, Chris says thank you.
Yes, and then shout out to Holly Randall for also, we did an incredible episode, but also, studio. Thank you, Holly, and just being a badass woman in entertainment and paving the way, and histamines, paving the way for women. This is even a drowsy one, but it feels weird. It feels like these lights are all fuzzy.
The lights are also in a new weird position where they're just like,
okay, I'm like,
yeah.
Is it? I don't know. I'm okay.
Dang, those.
Do we have time? I have a little story from the other night.
Yeah.
I am mushroom gummy. It was way stronger than I expected.
Oh my God.
And when I was supposed to go to a different show, meet Cassidy and all my Humboldt girls, I ended up staying at this show with my friend Taylor and Alex. Girls. I just realized those are like unisex names. Anyways, Taylor and Alex. And Taylor gave us a gummy. And usually I am smarter. I'm like, whether or not someone says the dosage, I'm like, I'll nibble on it throughout the night, maybe. But she was like, it's microdose. I was like, chomp. Nope. I felt so high. And there was a bartender at this place, and she looked like Sarah Squirm. And she's from SNL. I'm sure, I'm like, if you guys look her up, you'll recognize her. But I was just like so drawn to this person. It was like, I feel like you're the safe place for tonight. But she was like a bartender, so I can't be, Yeah, there's literally a table between us. Tried to dance it out. Tried to gaslight myself too into being like, there's no way you're high. Like, she said it was a microdose. You're just feeling silly. Maybe it was a mezcal. Like, trying to think it was anything else besides the gummy. And then the next day I was talking to Cassidy. She's a pretty good expert on psychedelics. She's a deadhead baby. And she was like, if it's mushroom extract, she's like, that can be way stronger than like acid sometimes. I was like in the gummy, she's like, it depends how this gummy was made. She's like, because it sounds like you ate something that was an extract versus physically, like, yeah. So that was fun. That whole journey didn't really like reflect too much because I was so fixated on like the physical feelings throughout the night. But
were you like having like the color changes and like the walls like breathing and stuff?
It was like that versus like, what is life? Yeah. Where do we go when life is over? Like, I wasn't having one of those, which is usually what I try to do when I.
But also, good when you're in a bar. Like we don't need to be having existential
No.
crisis.
No, I was like almost waiting for that to happen, and thankfully it didn't. But I was just like, I just hate when you're not prepared. Yeah. And then you just go on a quest. I think we have fan questions.
Yeah, let me pull that up. Can you hold this?
I think it's funny too. Like I don't know how often or how much you've done psychedelics. It sounds like you're pretty familiar.
I mean, I've done ayahuasca, I've done acid, I've done mushrooms. I like that stuff, but I definitely like it more when I'm gonna like go into a space
Yeah.
where I'm like given the.
I like with like mushrooms, like as it starts like metabolizing, you know, like you get like almost like a preview. You're like, oh, these are going to be like a lot. And then at that point, you can't do anything about it.
Well, that's what that night was. I was like, oh, okay, I'm peaking. And I was like, nope. Nope. Yeah. I was like, nope, we're still actually going. Cool. But also sometimes I feel like even if you're not trying to have a super deep reflective time on psychedelics, the takeaway every time is just you gotta ride it. You gotta accept your fate, and this is life. This is life now. And kind of translates well into like real life stuff.
Okay. We're running short on time, so we're gonna do one question.
Okay.
And that is I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm so sorry. So I'm going to go with Yatter. Wants to know, what is a quote from a book that you like the most? And if that's too hard, like maybe like a character and what that character means to you. I'm going to add that part in.
I mean, my favorite book is, well, one of mine, but probably like favorite fictional book is Even Cowgirls Get the Blues by Tom Robbins, which you guys got me that signed copy. Thank you. Yeah. My brain's not working.
I knew that might have been a hard question,
Yeah,
but I was like,
let's do a different one.
okay, I'll do another one. That's a little bit easier. Is that your photography is really amazing? Are you thinking about starting an Instagram page just for your photography?
Probably not just for my photography. I mean, I feel like I like sharing it on my main page. It'd be cool to do like a gallery one day. I've thought about that. Make some prints, see what happens, see if I can make some money off that. Or like even just making postcards. That'd be cool. But yeah. We'll answer more fan questions next solo episode. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, the allergies won this one.
Yeah, the allergies took up some time.
Yeah. All right. But guys, thank you so much for 1 year anniversary. We have so many amazing things planned for the rest of the year. Mm-hmm. Your support has been so incredible. I've not seen anything like this. I can't even think of an example of this much support for a show that didn't already have an insane backing, you know? So thank you so much. I can't wait for you guys to not even just see the next year, but like 5 years from now. Yeah, and be a part of the journey. Thank you so much.
Stick with us. We will not disappoint.
Bye.
Bye.